A lot of DJs struggle when learning to scratch because they don't follow a system. Some also think that they need really expensive DJ gear to learn. Trust me, you really don't. In fact, for this entire video, I'm going to be using the DDJ Flex 4 from Pioneer DJ. This is a $300 controller. And believe me when I say, when you're first learning to scratch, this is all you need. It's all about technique, not price tag. My name is DJ Blakey and I'm a former DMC champion. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint to learn scratching properly, step by step. Most DJs fail when learning to scratch because of these 4 things. Number 1, they learn random scratches with no structure. Number 2, they try to go too fast before mastering control. Number 3, they don't practice with timing, so their scratching sounds messy. And number 4, they don't learn how to use scratching in a real DJ set. If you follow these 4 steps in order, you will progress way faster and sound way cleaner. So for step number 1, we're going to master the fundamentals. You really must not skip baby scratches and forward scratches. I see a lot of DJs try and do more advanced techniques before they master these basic foundations, and this is a mistake. Why? Because these scratches are the foundation of all other techniques. When starting out, you really must start with the baby scratch. This is what that sounds like. So on this deck, I have a hip hop instrumental, and on this deck, I have my own custom scratch sample tool. If you would like to download that for free, just hit the link in the description and I'll send it to your email so that you can practice with the same sounds I'm using in this video. So let's use the very first sample on this scratch tool file, and it sounds like this. Now let's put our hand on the jog wheel and then bring the sound back to the start, which is right here. And then we need to make sure that our hand placement is correct. So you want your hand to be touching the jog wheel around the 9 o'clock position at the very top, very beginning of the sound, like this. This is the first scratch technique that you should master before moving on. The baby scratch is simply moving the jog wheel forward and backwards whilst keeping your hand on the jog wheel. So you move the jog wheel forward and then you move the jog wheel back to the beginning of the sound. Always try and make sure that you get the jog wheel back to the very start of the sound. At first, I recommend drilling this movement without a beat playing. And then as you practice and as you drill the baby scratch technique, you can speed it up. Once you feel comfortable with the motion of the baby scratch, you can introduce a beat on the other deck so that you can practice doing it in time to music. This is the speed I recommend doing the baby scratch at when you're first starting. And when you feel comfortable, you can speed it up. Try and keep it in time with the beat. And then you can speed it up even more. Spending time drilling the baby scratch until you feel completely comfortable with that motion, and you can do it in time with a track on the other deck, is going to set you up with a really nice base foundation to move on to more advanced techniques. Then once you're comfortable with the baby scratch, you can move on to a technique known as the forward scratch. This is a very important scratch technique because it introduces the crossfader for the first time. Now the crossfader is right here, and when using the crossfader for scratching, it is basically an on and off switch. At the end of my free scratch sample tool, I have a continuous tone. Let's play that tone. And then if I move the crossfader over, you can hear that the sound has turned off. Now, if I move the crossfader slightly, you can see it turns the sound on and it cuts in very, very quickly. So the crossfader is an on-off switch. Now let me show you why the crossfader is so important for the forward scratch. Using sample number 3 on my free scratch tool, I'm going to begin the scratch with my hand around the 9 o'clock position at the start of the sound, just like we did for the baby scratch. And then I'm going to let go of the jog wheel to let the sound play. And then I'm going to put my hand back on the jog wheel at the end of the sound, and I'm going to close the crossfader. And then I'm going to bring the sound back to the beginning by moving my hand back to around the 9 o'clock position. Now I'll turn the fader on again, let the sound play, and repeat the process. So what you're doing here is you're letting the forward sound play, but you're not letting the backward sound play. When you're first starting out, the forward scratch is a very important one to learn because it brings in the concept of doing 2 different things with both of your hands. Once you feel comfortable with the forward scratch, I recommend doing it over a beat so that you can practice your timing. and then you can speed it up if you like. This is just the foundation. If you would like to learn scratching properly, then I've put together 3 completely free, detailed lessons that I will send straight to your email. Just hit the link in the description. The next step is understanding that timing and control is more important than speed. Here is a drill that you can practice which will massively improve your timing and control. For this, we're going to use sample number 4 on my free scratch tool, and this drill is very similar to the forward scratch which we just covered. So as always, I'm going to start with my hand around the 9 o'clock position at the top of the sound. And we're going to start with the fader open, and what we're going to do is very similar to the forward scratch, but we're going to introduce one fader cut in the middle. Let me show you. So whereas the forward scratch sounds like this, the drill that we're going to be doing now involves turning the fader off and on once during the forward motion, like this. Let's see what it sounds like over an instrumental. Now let's speed it up. Like all scratch techniques, this will be a tricky one to get right when you first try it, but I guarantee you with enough practice you'll be surprised at the speed of your progress. A similar drill that you could practice involves only using the crossfader. Sample number 5 on my free scratch tool is a continuous tone. And if you want to practice your fader cuts and getting the timing right, then you could simply rest your thumb against the fader and then tap the fader on using your index finger and middle finger. So your index finger and middle finger tap the crossfader, and your thumb, using very gentle pressure, pushes the crossfader closed again. Take another look. So your index finger and middle finger tap the crossfader, and your thumb, using very gentle pressure, pushes the crossfader closed again. Take another look. Drilling this movement with your fader hand will pay dividends in the future as you start to learn more advanced scratching techniques. As the techniques get more difficult, you'll realise that a lot of the work is actually done by your crossfader hand. So drilling this movement until you feel comfortable with it will be time very well spent. This next step will ensure that the time you spend practicing is used wisely. Structured practice is the key to improving fast. So when you settle down for a practice session, you must ensure that you're actually drilling scratching techniques that will get you to your goal quicker, not just randomly freestyling. You need to ensure that what you're practicing is just outside of your comfort zone so that you always finish that practice session with a brand new skill. To achieve this when you're first starting out, I recommend picking 2 scratch techniques and then combining them into a pattern that you can repeat and drill until you feel completely comfortable doing it. Let me show you a pattern that combines the baby scratch and the forward scratch. And for this, I'm going to be using sample number 2 on my free scratch tool. So this pattern is 2 forward scratches and then 1 baby scratch. But the pattern that I will do it in brings an element of rhythm and funk. So that was 2 forward scratches followed by 2 baby scratches and then repeat. When practicing a pattern like this, I do recommend doing it over an instrumental. So let's do that. When you're practicing a pattern like this, I recommend drilling it until you get it right consistently, and don't move on until you do. Ensuring that your practice is structured like this will guarantee that you progress way quicker. Consistency builds skill way faster than random practice. And for our final step in this blueprint, once you have your scratch techniques down and you feel confident, we need to be able to add those scratches to a real DJ set. The good news is that simple scratches are almost always better in the context of a DJ set. So let me show you how you can mix in a track using the baby scratch and the forward scratch. When it comes to scratching in a DJ set, less is more. There are 3 scratches that I will almost always use in a real DJ set: the baby scratch, the forward scratch, and the chirp scratch. If you would like to take your learning further, then hit up the link in the description and I will send over 3 completely free scratch lessons to your email. Don't waste time guessing. This will fast track your learning. Thanks for watching. My name is DJ Blakey, and if you made it to the end of this video and you would like to check out more from me and my channel, then YouTube recommends this video right here.